everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for tuning in for another weekly update on news and information about DCS World. I'm your host, of course, Prickly Hedgehog, and as always I do hope this video finds you well wherever you're tuning in from around the world. Wow, another busy week for me. A little bit cooler in Minnesota, some nice temperatures this week, quite bearable, unlike 4th of July weekend, which was sweltering, mid to high 90s, and we basically sweated away. It didn't matter if we were inside or out because, of course, the AC was still out, and it was an uncomfortable weekend. We were working outside. I moved about 1,300 pounds of rock for a patio that I'm building, and I've still got several hundred pounds to go yet to move and put into place. I think we're up to about almost 2,000 pounds of rock right now. And so that was fun. And then back to work after the July celebrations, the July 4th celebrations. America! And yeah, so not a lot of time for me, unfortunately, this week with those external projects to do any flying. The Marianas, of course, has been out for about a week, so let me know what your thoughts are on that. And of course the high end is still kicking along nicely, and we should be seeing more development on both of those things shortly, which are subject to part of the newsletter this week. But let's delve into the big news, which is a small progress report on the Mosquito. Now, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time or are new to the channel, you may be unaware that the Mosquito was scheduled and slated for a possible release in Q1 of this year. And then we had a little bit of a speed bump because Nick Gray, the CEO of Eagle Dynamics, said, no, I'm not satisfied with that. So he canned the release. He didn't can the aircraft, but he said the exterior modeling wasn't up to spit, so to speak. So it was sent back to the art team and the developers who were working on that particular project for some spit and polish, and apparently, according to the newsletter, it is up to par now and is close to release. What they're saying here, the overall assessment is that work on that Mosquito is progressing well. So World War II fans among you will be satisfied with that good news. They're saying that the cockpit is near final, and they're adding details of instrumentation color, reflections, and color balance. They're also working on the radio transmitter and the receiver, as well as the radio communications for voice chat. That is also approaching completion, which is very, very good news. The external model is almost finished, and the texturing is near completion. And hopefully you should be looking at some screenshots right now of some of the modeling that they've done. So just to cover a little bit more detail of what they're saying here, they are basically borrowing the same technology that they used for the Hind to enhance the visual experience that we're going to get in the cockpit of the Mosquito. And I think, like the Hind, it will also be a very dial-heavy, equipment-based cockpit, a busy cockpit with a lot of levers and all the rest of it. Just based on the age of the aircraft, it's not part of the jet electronic age. So what we're seeing here looks pretty impressive, and hopefully it will continue to be impressive when it's released. So they're basically saying that they're using the same pre-calculated ray tracing technology used, as I said, in the Hind. This means they have improved the gauge visibility by refining the center and side panel color gamma values. Glass, plastic covers, luminescent dials, and exposed wiring provide a more realistic look and feel. And that's something that I noticed with the Hind. It didn't look, how would you say, plasticky rendered. It looked very earthy. It's probably the best way of describing it. Realistic, you know, especially with those shadows and things. You get a really nice depth to the colors and the shading, of course, which lends itself to realism and a very immersive kind of feel when you're in that cockpit. Just looks realistic, and that is of course very, very beneficial, and hopefully something that we see in the final product, at least if these images that we're looking at are anything to go by. So as I said, the final improvements to the external model are on the road here, and they're hoping to share some more progress with us soon about where they're at exactly with it. They're excited to see the finishing end here, or the finish line, and are looking forward to seeing this iconic fighter bomber in DCS World, which I agree with. Obviously, it was extremely disappointing to hear that the aircraft wasn't up to scratch, like I said, at the beginning of the year, and therefore it wasn't released. So the aircraft was sort of lurking in the background somewhere, but we weren't really given any new progress, and I think that was probably because Nick Gray wasn't going to let any snippets of information be released on the product until it was up to a satisfactory level, and that makes total sense. Why would you bother, sending out, a progress report that really doesn't cover the progress? We all kind of got the gist of what happened, but as much as you want more information, you're just not going to get it. It was canned for reasons, and now we're at a stage where we're looking at getting the aircraft back in the game, which is going to be good news, like I said, for those World War II fans. I'm excited. I think, there's no question it's an iconic aircraft. There's no question it has a considerable pedigree. And there's also no questioning it's a very rare aircraft. As I've said in the past, quite a few flying examples are actually rebuilt in New Zealand, and I forget the name of the company that does that. So, there's people out there paying a lot of money to have the few examples that are left restored and brought back to flying order. It's one thing to have it parked up in a museum and in an unworking state or non-working state, but to bring it back to full spec, it takes a lot of work and a lot of very, very clever people with incredible skills to produce an aircraft of this type in flying form. So it's cool to see, and this is a nice homage by creating an aircraft that we get to see in the virtual world, living out some of its fantastic exploits from World War II. It had a very, very high success rate, a relatively, by comparison, success rate in terms of returning to base compared to a lot of bombers of the period, because the attrition rate was so high. Pilots very much favored this aircraft for its speed, its ability to withstand damage and return to base. Again, all of those factors were one of the reasons it survived the war. Tragically, one of the almost cruel ironies, even though the wood that it was made from, the plywood and the lacquering that they did to assemble these aircraft, which was one of the features that made it strong and actually was made it also easy to repair, because they weren't reliant on aluminium, which was scarce at the time, because they were building other bombers and aircraft and stuff. It actually proved to be a little bit of its downfall. One of the reasons we don't have so many Mosquitoes is because a lot of them rotted after the war when they were put into storage. They did not like to be stored. Moisture gets in, it breaks down the plywood, obviously, and basically degrades the fuselage on the exterior of the aircraft. So a lot of them ended up just kind of collapsing under their own weight, which is a real tragedy. Nevertheless, like I said, it's got a massive history. It's going to be fun to see it in the game, and I can't wait to see what they've done with this iconic aircraft. It's going to be a blast to fly, I think, and a real challenge, especially to get off the ground and down safely. There are some tricks and quirks with it. Very few pilots. There are some still around. There's not many left. Unfortunately, World War II veterans among us really are the few. So I'm going to try and get hold of a New Zealand guy. I think he's I forget his name now, but he's one of the few pilots still around. I'd love to try and make contact with him and see what he has to say. If we can get some sort of feedback from him about the aircraft in the game, what he thinks of it, that would be really neat. So I'm going to try and facilitate that somehow, some way, but I haven't found a way to directly contact him. He is on Twitter, but he's made some comments about stuff, so I need to kind of reach out to him some way and make that happen. Okay, well, let's move on to other news. Now, I mentioned the Marianas, of course, and according to Eagle Dynamics, they are hoping to have some performance enhancements to that map soon. So they're doing optimization for both 2D and VR. That's ongoing, which is good. So stay tuned for that, because that is one of the pitfalls of the map right now, is that it is system heavy. So any performance improvements and enhancements are going to be welcome indeed, especially, as I said last week, for a free map. It's a little bit of a bitter taste if you offer a free map, and not everybody can enjoy it. So Eagle Dynamics has thanked everybody for their constructive feedback and the bug reports, which is good. And it's one of the benefits of this community. I think most people are pretty constructive with their feedback. They recognize that benefits everybody. It enhances everybody's playing experience if you're able to give feedback, constructive feedback to the developers about what's going on, and if you see bugs and things, I want to applaud the people that do that, because I don't have time, but it really helps everybody, and of course it helps Eagle Dynamics, which is good. It's good for the community. There is some maintenance schedule for the primary server. This includes the website, the module manager, and multiplayer services. That's planned for the 13th of July. It's going to be for a 6-hour period. They do apologize for any inconvenience. One of the things they have indicated here is that this may affect your ability to reconnect to the server, because the IP address will change, and they recommend updating your DNS cache. And I'll throw up the run path there that allows you to do that in Windows. So keep your eyes peeled there. Lastly, we've got a little bit of a plug here for the Thunderbolt. Of course, the P-47D, another World War II iconic aircraft. The Jug, as it was known, is a formidable ground-pounding machine, which is why it is kind of the father of the Thunderbolt A-10C, which, despite some political wranglings, has yet to be removed from the Air Force's arsenal, and I think many of us are thankful for that. It's a great, great aircraft, but of course its forebear, the P-47D, did a similar role in World War II. And right now it's running under Edge 2.7, which means you'll notice more detailed and enhanced textures throughout the cockpit and, of course, the external model, which is nice. It's got its great big Pratt & Whitney R28 double Wasp engine and heavy armament. It can actually hold more than its own with the more recent and lighter P-51D Mustang, whilst withstanding more combat damage. Fully loaded, the aircraft is capable of carrying almost half the payload of a B-17 Flying Fortress, which is incredible. In the ground attack role, it can actually carry 1.3 tons, not tons, but tons of external ordnance with a maximum takeoff weight of nearly 8 tons. So, like I said, a fantastic little aircraft, although it was actually quite big by comparative standards compared to, say, the Spitfire or even the B-51 Mustang. It's a bulky aircraft, no question about that. But that was one of the benefits of the airframe, was its ability both to take punishment and, of course, to drop a lot of ordnance. And again, another successful aircraft. So again, don't forget to take advantage, at least, of the 30% special right now on that particular aircraft. And of course, the sale does end here soon on the 12th. So there are goodies aplenty. This is the last weekend to do that. So don't forget to pick up the aircraft if you were playing around with one and you wanted to buy it. Time is running out. Don't miss out on those great discounts. I think I might have to have a look this weekend too. It's been a while since I bought an aircraft outside of the Hind, so it must be due for something else. Maybe that's on special. I'll have to see what's out there. Have a little look. All right, I think this brings us to the end of the newsletter. I'm working on a couple of other things quietly in the background when my schedule gets a little less hectic. I'm down a partner at work, which means my workload has increased significantly. And yeah, it's the summertime, things get busy, as you know. Looking forward to the winter, actually, so I can spend more time flying and less time doing projects in the garden. But you know, those have some benefits as well, and it's good therapy just to do something different. Anyway, let's wrap it up. I want to say thank you again for all the likes and subscribes. The channel is chugging along. Don't forget to keep doing that. Keep the comments coming. Keep the discussion flowing. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Mosquito and how you have experienced the Marianas, and whether or not you're looking forward to enhancements and performance improvements to the map, and what else you're looking forward to this year, because we are slowly cooking. I think Eagle Dynamics has the Apache on the slow cooker right now. That's being developed. We saw a little snippet of it in the Marianas Islands release video recently, and it did look pretty damn sexy, I must say, and I know a lot of you are waiting for that with glee, gnashing of probably biting fingernails, hoping that it will be released in the fourth quarter for early access. But again, early access should be, based on what I'm seeing right now, I think they're on schedule based on some of the snippets that we're seeing. So Eagle Dynamics is doing quite well right now. I must applaud them again for the work that they have done, because things outside of the Mosquito, things have been progressing, quite nicely. All right, I'm a little tired. As I said, I should have wrapped this up about a minute and a half ago, so let's do that. Take care, everybody. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and the comments and all the rest of it. We'll see you next time. Take care.